Okay, have you ever actually wondered if there's a real, honest-to-goodness spell to become a mermaid? I mean, it sounds like pure fantasy, right? But believe it or not, tons of people are asking this exact question. So today, we're going to dive in and see where this incredible fantasy crashes into a really fascinating and kind of weird reality. All right, let's just get straight to the heart of it. Is there a spell out there that actually truly works? You know, one that can physically change a person into a mermaid? It's the ultimate dream for so many, but let's see what the real world has to say about it. To get our answer, we have to look at the cold, hard facts. We're basically putting folklore in one corner and biology in the other. And, well, when it comes to a physical transformation like this, science has a very, very clear answer. And there you have it. The short, simple answer is no. There's no known spell, no ritual, no magic words that can physically turn a human into a mermaid. It's just a straight-up biological impossibility. But wait, the story doesn't end there, because the why, that's where things get really interesting. Look, our bodies just aren't wired for it. We're mammals with lungs designed to breathe air, not gills that can pull oxygen out of the water. Our whole anatomy, our skeleton, it's built for walking on land with legs, not swimming with a tail. And the biggest piece of the puzzle? Our physical form is all determined by our DNA, our genetics, and you just can't change your genes by chanting a few words. Mermaids are amazing figures in stories and folklore for sure, but you're not going to find them in any biology textbook. Okay, so if it's biologically impossible, then why do so many people feel like these spells are working? This is where we have to pivot. We're moving away from science and diving into psychology, and the answer here is so much more complex than a simple no. This right here is the absolute core of it. The real power isn't in some ancient magical text, it's inside your own head, in your mind's incredible ability to imagine and to believe. When you perform a spell, what you're really doing is putting on a performance for yourself. There's actually a term for this: fantasy immersion. See, when someone does a so-called spell, what's really happening is they're engaging in this super powerful form of meditation or role play. They're using their imagination to create a deep, personal feeling of being a mermaid. The change isn't physical, it's psychological and emotional, but that doesn't make that feeling any less real or potent to the person experiencing it. And this is what leads us to the really cool and kind of weird twist in this whole story. Just because you can't magically become a mermaid, that doesn't mean the dream is over. Not even close. In fact, for some people, it's just getting started. So after all this talk about biology and psychology, does that mean the dream is totally impossible? Absolutely not. It just means we need to get a little more creative and maybe a lot more practical. And this is how people are actually living the fantasy right now. They get these incredibly realistic swimming tails, they learn free diving so they can move underwater with grace, and some even become underwater performers. This isn't just about imagining it anymore, it's a real physical athletic experience. So this brings us to the most important takeaway of this whole thing. It's really all about understanding the difference between a fictional transformation and a real lived experience. So when you boil it all down, it looks like this. If you're hoping for a magical transformation that comes from a spell, you're pretty squarely in the world of fiction. But if you approach it with the right gear, with training, and a real passion for the water, the mermaid experience is totally possible. One is a passive wish, the other is an active, real-world pursuit. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. We started this off by saying a magic spell can't change your body. But we've also seen how the idea of a spell, that whole act of fantasy immersion, can actually inspire someone to go out and have a real physical experience. So, if our imagination is powerful enough to build a bridge between a fantasy and our reality, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is the true nature of magic anyway?